Hello, my love. This is part 2 of my videos on Invisalign. This video, I will be covering Invisalign Essentials, your first week of Invisalign, and anything else that comes to mind and in that process. If you have not checked out the first video I talk about the process of kind of getting to Invisalign, some alternative methods or treatments, talk about some book recommendations, all that good stuff, and I answer some of my pros and cons about Invisalign. So definitely, if you haven't watched that, check it out or add it to your watch list. Let's hop into the video. So first, I want to chat about the first week with Invisalign. My first week, what I wrote down, the first thing I wrote when I left out of the office with my trays, so much saliva. I said, there is so much saliva, and I put it in bold. You will be like most people. I read this about most people like on forums and, Reddit and blogs and YouTube. You're putting something foreign in your mouth. So your body is like, what is this? What the heck? Get it out. And saliva just pumps. It just pumps in your mouth. But the crazier part was that my mouth wasn't just overly wet. It also was dry. My lips were chapped. My mouth felt dry. And it's crazy because when I'm talking about it, my mouth just started to salivate. It's like it remembered the trauma from the first week. But for about a week, maybe week and a half, I just had excess saliva. I also had my mouth was dry, my lips are dry. That was actually something that happened for a while with Invisalign, like a long time. What else did I write? I talked about just having with the indentions with your gums, like how, because the trays are like on, they're on your teeth, and then your gums, your whole mouth is not used to having these trays in your mouth all the time. So I had indentions on my gums, like we could tell my gums were inflamed, even with my cheeks on top. Also like my tongue on the first and second day, it was very sore. It was actually sore for up to like maybe a couple weeks. And I think it's just because it's not used to sitting the way it sits on where the trays were. Now I don't have this issue with my retainers, or even when I had other trays, like back when I was within the treatment, but you could feel it. Like for me, I could. Some people didn't have that issue, but I did. With the treatment, with the trays, there's just different things that could happen. And one of the things you could use, one of the tools you could use is dental wax. Just like if you've had braces before, or if you've seen with people with braces, they'll use dental wax if they have like their wires sticking and poking them or something. So you could use dental wax. You could also use a file to file it down a little bit where you see that it's, or you feel that it's bothering you. And then you could just buff that out. So there's a lot of different things you could do with that, but I didn't have any major issues where I needed to file mine down or use dental wax, but people do. So I'll definitely link some below. So it's day 1 of Invisalign. I've had them in for about 2 hours now, almost 2 hours, I believe. I don't have any discomfort. Like I don't have any pain at the moment, which is good. I'm grateful for that. I don't know how many attachments I have on my teeth, but I'll share that once I count them. I did have one attachment fall off, the one right here, which is the main tooth that I want to move. As far as pain goes, I wrote down the pain was about 1.5 to 2 on the first day. It wasn't really bad. It's just uncomfortable. Like that's the only way to put it. It's so weird to have something in your mouth like that. Like it's just weird. And the uncomfort, the discomfort, it led to more, it's like annoying. I don't know how to put it any other way. It was annoying to me. But there's other people who say it's painful. Like they said, there was people who told me, and I was freaked out about this, that the first day, the first week, the first couple weeks, every time they would take their trays out to eat, it would hurt. It would feel like they were dragging their teeth, like somebody was like trying to pull their teeth out. That didn't happen to me. Thank God. I didn't have that type of pain. It was uncomfortable, but never where it felt like I wanted to like cry. But there are some people who have experienced something like that. I was able to eat things like fish. I had cod that day. I had soup. I had sourdough bread. I had, I think, eggs. I drank my normal drinks, like, warm water, warm tea, also regular water. But that's what I drink normally. So I didn't eat steak. I don't think that first week that I recall from my notes. But, all the normal foods I eat, like anything that's not super tough that I ate was pretty much fine, because you have to understand your teeth are going to be sensitive because they are moving. If you've had braces before, it's kind of the same scenario, except you don't have braces. You have attachments. If you're interested in learning about attachments, check out the video. I talked about them like 3 different times in that first video. Also, my first day, I got a headache. So I didn't have crazy pain, but my headache was painful. And I believe, again, it's just because you're putting pressure on your teeth. You're pulling, stretching, doing all these things. And so I got a headache that first day. It went away by the second day. My constant theme of just the first week was uncomfortable, weird, so much saliva, dry mouth. Just be prepared for irritation, be prepared for inflammation. You could use as a, just for at home remedy, you could use salt water, sea salt with warm water to gargle in your mouth to help with inflammation. You could obviously do pain pills. I don't really do pain pills, but you could do that. I use Subluna by Ariel de Martinez. I use her toothache tincture and it's with yarrow. And so I use that if my teeth ever were in that much pain the whole time while I was during my treatment, I would just put the tincture on my gums. You could also get salves like that, or make a special tea, but there's so many things that help with inflammation that you could look up. Be careful with turmeric. I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but because it stains. Anything that stains, be careful with doing that, because you want to make sure you're rinsing your mouth out so that your trays don't get stained. But as far as pain goes, for me, it was just the highest I would say in pain that I went throughout the whole treatment would probably be a 4. Not even a 4, probably 3.5, based on what I read. So the pain wasn't bad for me, but some people experience a lot of pain. So just be aware of that. My second day, I realized the first day, one of my attachments had actually came off of my teeth. It was off of this one here. I think that's the canine there. And so it came off of that one. I actually went back the next day to get it put on, which was funny because I actually had lost 3 attachments, but they didn't notice it. They only noticed, I told them I lost one, and so they put only the one back on. But when I went home, I looked at the photo from the day before when I took my photo, and I realized that 3 attachments had came off. So that's a pro tip with Invisalign. You don't have to if you lose attachments, you don't have to go back immediately. You can go back on your next appointment. I just did it specifically because the one that fell off was my main problem tooth, the tooth that I knew needed to be moved. It's the tooth that was the most out of alignment. So just be aware of that with your first week. I would have, your pain, whatever your pain or inflammation that you need, like your treatments, your medicine, have that on hand is what I'm saying. Have it before you even get to that point. I did not get pain pills because I didn't think I would need them, and I really didn't in the end. So have that. Make sure you get some sea salt so you have that available. You can also get Briotech. I'll be showing Briotech in a second. Briotech is also something you could use on your gums or in your throat or to help clean. You might want to have ice on hand to put on your mouth, or even ice and heat, because it might be inflamed. So just be aware of that. Now I'm going to move on to some of the tips and essentials. So with tips as far as with not with cleaning your teeth, tips as far as with if your trays are kind of uneven, because that happened to me a few times with my trays. If you feel like they're not sitting on your teeth properly, more than likely, it's not that they're not fitting properly. It's just that they need to be seated properly. And so you could use something like Chewies. You don't want to use your teeth to do it. You use a Chewy. I don't have one open, do I? Use a Chewy, but this is Chewy's. I'll probably just post a video of one, but the Chewy's, they're little, I have one to show you in a second, but they're little, I think they're rubber. I don't even know what the material is, silicone maybe, and you chew on them. And if you chew on that, it will help, or after a couple of days, it will sit better on your teeth, and then finally it will sit fully on your teeth. I thought something was wrong and that my trays didn't fit when this happened to me. The couple times it did, but once I read forums and asked, with the doctor, they said just use Chewies to help seat the tray. So if that happens to you, just be aware of that, because it was surprising, but I was able to fix it is what I'm getting at. Tips for if the trays are hurting you. That's why I mentioned dental wax, mentioning you could, file your trays down. With cleaning, there's a few options with cleaning. So what I did is I don't use any type of if I don't like the ingredients, I don't really use it. I'm more into unscented things when it comes to cleaning and stuff like that. So I used distilled warm water with vinegar or distilled warm water with baking soda. I actually learned that from Dr. B, Ask the Dentist. And that's what I use to clean my trays 95% of the time. Unless I was out and about. If I'm out and about, I use Briotech or soap and water. Briotech is here. I would use this or soap and water to clean it, and I would just get a soft bristle toothbrush. This is one I got from Target, but this is what I would typically use at home. But I just had a soft bristle toothbrush, and I also had a travel one I would use back then, and I would use this to clean the trays a little bit. And then you also could use Retainer Bright if you're not into holistic stuff and you just want something to clean your teeth real quick. These are samples that my ortho gave me. They would give them to me all the time, so I have a whole bunch of them. But Retainer Bright is another one you could use. You just pop them in some water or some lukewarm water, and then you dip your trays into it. So I would just use a mason jar. You could use like your coffee mug, and then you just do it that way, or a bowl, however you want to do that. And I would just do it, for me, I did it when I was eating. Whenever I was eating, or if I was drinking something that wasn't clear, I would just clean my teeth for that, or clean my aligners for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the situation. When it comes to any kind of discoloration with your trays, something that I tried, I didn't know if it would work, but I tried it because I do this with my stasher bags, the silicone bags, if you've ever seen those before, is sun bleaching. So say your trays get really, really yellow, because it can happen. So say you're wearing your trays, I change my trays every 7 days. Some people change them every 14 days, so every 2 weeks. If that happens, and say you drank something or ate something and you forgot to like fully brush your teeth, and you didn't think about, oh, it's staining, like it's in my mouth still, you can do what I did. You could try this. And what I did is I would just put them in the sun for like 10-15 minutes while I was reading, and it will bleach the aligners. You don't want to do it when the sun is very strong, because then it could possibly, you know, warp your the plastic. You don't want it to be too hot, and you don't want to leave it out there unattended. But it really helps. Like with my stasher bags, I would have like yellow bags, and I know it's silicone, so it's a little different. Yellow bags are clear. Pro tip for stasher bags, silicone bags, you could sun bleach them, and you could do the same with the Invisalign. I don't think it's something they would recommend, but I'm just letting you know it's something that's available to you by using natural resources. Just don't leave them out there for a long time. Make sure you are monitoring them. The next thing is have a routine. Get a routine in place of how you're going to do, like with your Invisalign. I really feel like people mess themselves up because they don't have cases. So now I'm going to kind of talk about the essentials that you might want to include in your day-to-day, all day. I used to carry at work a bag like this, and then I also would have this for like my purse. And then I had a third one I would use sometimes, like just to have for like if I was hiking or traveling. I don't really use this now. It's actually holding all my retainer cases. But you want to make sure that you have a case with you all the time. So here's the case I typically use. This is the one I would keep in my bags. I had 2 or 3 of these. And then let me show you the other ones. And then the Invisalign case is here. I just kept it just to show you guys for the video. And then my ortho had given me some of these like this for like the ones you keep for your retainer or dentures, I think, too, as well. But whatever case, it doesn't matter if it's free or if you pay for it. I'll link the ones I have below too. But having multiple cases so that you never put your retainers, or not your retainers, your trays inside of napkins or just on a desk. Always put them in the case. Like, this is my recommendation. It's so, like, it's crazy how many people don't do this. And I realized this by going to the ortho. Like, so many people don't even use like their cases, and they throw their stuff away, or their dog will eat it, or, you know, whatever. It's very interesting. So please bring a case for your trays. So I would always have this inside of my bag, this bag here. This bag is actually water resistant. And then if you're someone who wears nails or has short nails, or, you know, just wants to keep your nails cute, this is a cool tool to use. It's called the pull tool. And you use it like to be able to take out your trays like that. It's helpful. It's also helpful if your teeth are really, when you first get your trays, they're a little bit snugger and it's harder to sometimes get your trays out. It's a very helpful tool. I wouldn't get it unless you absolutely need it. Like, if you find out you need it, then buy it. I wouldn't just buy it just to have it, because you could still get your teeth out. It's just more for people who have nails or don't want to mess up their nails. And then it comes in a case like this, but what I use this for, and if you've watched my pack with me for my cruise blog, if you've seen that, you see that I've used this bag for my pull tool, but I don't put the pull tool in here. I use these flossing picks. So I always kept these with me. You always want to have floss. And these are easier. I noticed when I was working, it's very hard to just go in floss with regular floss very quickly. This you could do while you're walking real quick to the bathroom, because you have to brush your teeth after you, basically, before you put your trays in, you're supposed to brush your teeth. I know it's not good for your teeth. It's not good to do that. You should wait like 30, 45 minutes before you even brush your teeth after eating. But you have to with Invisalign. So I would just floss, and then I would always rinse my mouth out at minimum. And then with toothpaste, I would keep a travel toothpaste. This is just a random brand travel toothpaste. And then these are the chewies I was mentioning before. I showed you in the bag. So a chewy, you take the chewy, this little, hopefully you could see that, and then you are able to bite on it. And so what I would do, what I used to do is I would put this case, I would have the pool tool, and then I would have my chewy inside of the case. That's how I used to do it, just to have it, because a lot of times you would need the chewy, like say your trays were brand new and you went out to eat, you need the chewy to help put them back in to make sure they're sitting on your teeth well. And you would also use this chewy, like I said, if you feel like your trays are kind of uneven and they're not warped. If they're uneven and they're warped, you might need to take them back to the doctor. But I mean, if they're uneven when straight off the pack, a lot of times you just need to use the chewy to help seat them better. So chewies are very helpful with that. And then you always want to have a toothbrush. So this toothbrush I don't use this one, but I have a lot of these. This is a Remedies brand toothbrush, but you can, just make sure you have a toothbrush on hand that is easily accessible. Like this one needs to be thrown away. Like I said, I just kept it just to show it to you. So don't judge. I don't usually keep toothbrushes that long. You should probably change your toothbrush like every month, at minimum, unless you don't use it often, or at least make sure you're letting it air dry. So don't like leave your toothbrush like this in the bag. Make sure that you like let it air out when you do that, because that's how bacteria can spread and get in there. And then I had a travel floss I would always keep just in case, but I very rarely used it because I would usually use the the floss picks. And then you want to have like a hand sanitizer or something to clean your hands. That's where Briotech comes in. Briotech is cool because you can clean your aligners with this too. So you can clean the aligners. You can spray it in your mouth for inflammation. You can use it to wash your hands, fruit. So it's a very good, I love it because you could use it for so many things. So I always keep it in my purse. But that's what that was my basic bag. Now, if you are someone like me, because before I didn't really carry that many purses, and then when I did carry a purse, it was very small. If you're someone like me who doesn't carry a purse, or you're a man, this is what I would do as your basic. Just have your case. You may not want this specific case. Maybe you just want a case, and have your chewy inside. And if you want a pool tool, have the pool tool inside. And then I also would put the floss picks. So this is how I used to do it typically, just to show you. So I would typically have it like this. I would have a couple of these floss picks and then my chewy in the case. Or sometimes I would have this in there too. So that's like a basic case, like to do if you want to have that. You want to make sure that you're rinsing out your case. Rinse out your case, but also rinse out your trays before you put them in your mouth. Rinse them out before you put them in the case. It might be useful to get a case that has more of a seal on it so that if it's too much water, it doesn't leak in your pants if you're not carrying a purse. That's why I have this waterproof bag. And I wash the waterproof bag like every couple of weeks. Another thing to have if you're not traveling, if you're not out and about at home, is to have a soft toothbrush with you. It doesn't have to be this brand. I use these a lot from Target, but you can get them on Amazon or anywhere, Walmart. But soft bristle toothbrush or like a baby toothbrush to be able to clean your trays. You can clean your trays with just the brush or with soap or with Briotech, but just be gentle with it. You don't need to be scrubbing it. You shouldn't be scrubbing your teeth like that either. Gently like your teeth. Gentle with the trays, and that should be sufficient. You could use the retainer brights too. Obviously, if you get packs like these, you can bring these with you when you're traveling. The next thing I would recommend for traveling and when you're out and about, or maybe not even out and about, but just when you're traveling, is my favorite is my water flosser. So I have a water flosser that sits on my counter at home, but then I also have my travel one. And I love the travel one more than the one that sits on my counter because this one's not as loud. The one on my counter is so loud. Like, it's so loud, but I love it because you'll find it's kind of annoying having to brush your teeth, floss your teeth every time you eat, especially if you're like me where you eat multiple times a day. It can be annoying. That's why they say that whole like Invisalign weight loss plan, because people won't even, like, they're in so much pain, they won't even take out their trays. But I told you, I didn't have that much pain with taking out my trays. I had it sometimes, but it wasn't enough to deter me from eating. Like, that's not gonna happen. I love to eat. So make sure you are aware of that and figure out what works best for you, whether it's a flossing pick, a water flosser, or regular floss, or a combination of all of them. So this one here is a travel one. It comes with this case. I already unzipped it. I was like, already unzipped it, but it comes like this. And so this is you'll see here, and then this is the top. And how you do it is you take this part out like this, you fill this with water, stick it in here like this, and you see now it's in there. Okay, I was making sure it was in there. And then on the top here, it has the little, you could buy more of these different kinds, and I would replace them like every, you know, at least couple of months. And then it just looks like this, and you turn it on and you have different settings. But I love this thing. I love it so much. I bring it with me when I travel. You may have seen it in some of my cruise vlogs, but you want to make sure you clean this. So you could run, when you're out and about or you're traveling, you could run vinegar through it. You can run, make sure you close that. Vinegar through it. You could do the Briotech diluted through it, but just make sure you clean it out and you air it out before you put it in storage, because you don't want mold and mildew and then be spraying mold and mildew all over your teeth. Okay. So, but this one is, I love this one. I did a lot of research and I've been using this one for a couple years, and it, like I said, it's my favorite. I should really just use it as my water flosser, but I already have one so on my counter, so I use it for traveling. With traveling, that's pretty much what I bring. The only addition for my oral care is a tongue scraper and my mouth tape for when I'm sleeping, but pretty much what I showed you is what I brought when I travel. Same things, just a bigger thing of floss and more flossing picks. That with the essentials, that is pretty much the main essentials I would recommend with Invisalign. You probably will want to put like a chapstick into your bag as well, because your teeth will probably get dry, because your lips will probably get dry is what I meant to say. Your lips will probably get dry. And you may want to keep like lotion, a little small lotion, just because if you're constantly wetting your hands, your hands may get dry. But that's the most I would say. I think it's a very simple bag doing it that way. And like I told y'all, I used to use this smaller one in my purse. This has other stuff in it now, but I would use that with my Invisalign. Being aware, just having the tools you need to keep that routine, and you'll figure out what works good for you. In my case, when I was at my old job, I didn't have a lot of time to brush my teeth. So that's why the flossing picks came in handy. If you have the time, just use regular floss. If you have the opportunity to be able to use a water flosser at your job or your business, buy one of those. Or if you have one already, bring it to work. So you have it in your bathroom or you have it in your desk and you use it to do your, like whatever works for you, do that. I'm just wanting to give you the tips and tools that worked for me and led me to this point. I'm done with my Invisalign treatment. I'm just wearing my retainers. I wear them at night right now. And I mean, now it's great. Like I can drink tea, you know, I can do whatever I need to do, chew gum, because I was without gum for like that whole year and a half, almost 2 years. But pretty much with anything I talk about on this channel, it's just whatever works for you, do that. This is just some tools. If you have other Invisalign like essentials or things that you use, definitely share them below, because I would love for other people who watch this video to be able to see that. If you guys want me to make any more videos on Invisalign, definitely also let me know in the comments or shoot me an email. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you definitely will want to check out the videos here. I'll see you in the next one. With all my love, Lana.